Hi guys, welcome back to Mrs. Sentner's Art Studio. I'm so sad that we are not able to be together at school right now, but I'm very grateful we are able to continue our art lessons from home during distance learning. This month we are going to focus on established San Antonio artists, and I just want to tell you a few things before we get started. I don't want you to worry at all about what supplies you have. Find what you have to work with and just get creative. We're having to do a lot of creativity this month, not having any art supplies that we can use in the classroom. You're going to have to find what you can use at home. So it's fine. We're going to love your art, and I cannot wait to see it. So now I'm going to move into the learning portion of our lesson. This lesson is specifically for first grade, but you are more than welcome to do any of the lessons that are part of the April schedule. This month, we are going to learn about a San Antonio artist by the name of Ben Mata. He was born in 1969 in San Antonio and was raised on the south side of San Antonio. He studied painting at Southwest Texas State University, which is now called Texas State, from 1997 to 2000, and at Palo Alto College in San Antonio from 1993 to 1996. During his studies, he was a resident artist at the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center Annex building. Two of Mata's favorite artists are Richard Diebenkorn, I have a difficult time with some names, for his layering, and Robert Rauschenberg, because while there's a lot going on in his art, there is a unity to the way he puts it together. It started very fluid, Mata says, of his metal work, and now it's become very complex. What I like about it is that there is so much that I can do. Here, Ben Mata stands before his art piece called Sphere, a large-scale work in which he uses oil paints and a spray gun on aluminum sheets mounted on a wood panel. For the record, Mata took an auto body class at South San High School when he was a student there. He downplays that fact. Rather, he calls himself an experimenter. Color radiates from deep within Ben Mata's canvases, which actually are rectangular aluminum sheets mounted on wood panels and painted with a body shop spray gun. Like a new car, they have a slick, jewel-like finish at first glance. Minimalist and monochromatic, Mata's work is really neither. It rewards extended viewing. He attacks the surface with a grinder. He rubs it with solvents, dribbles acid on it, and he creates texture and depth this way, applying layer upon layer of diluted artist oils through the sprayer. He allows the rich, vibrant tones, the sea glass green, the rich burgundy, the blazing blue of a gas flame, the mirror black. He allows them all to shine through. His latest series is aptly named Lightscapes. He says, I've really been focusing on the intensity of the color lately. He is showing new paintings at Radius Center downtown. The material could be cold, but the paint really gives the work a lot of warmth. When you paint a car, everything has to be perfect, but it's the imperfections, a bunch of accidents that make a painting. He is most influenced by the abstracted expressionist movement of the 1950s. As is clear in his print of I-35 North. This work is made up of red and blue dots, red circles, and white and yellowish lines on a red background. I was always an artist since I was a little kid, he said during a recent interview at his studio on Broadway. It is one of two Mata workspaces. He does the dirty work, the cutting, the welding, spraying, at a former mechanics garage off of Hildebrand Avenue. I was always taking things apart and putting them back together in different ways. I'd be up half the night drawing. My mind just works that way. I always wanted to create something unique. A South San grad, Mata studied art at Palo Alto College and then transferred to Southwest Texas State, which is now Texas State, to study painting. He lacks about a dozen hours for a degree. He makes his living and supports his 4 kids on his own by working and making art with his custom canvases for other artists. Mata's work continues to mature. He was a fairly traditional artist in the early years of his art, making representational Chicano paintings on cloth canvas. In fact, he created the 1996 poster for the Tejano Conjunto Festival. Conjunto is a small musical group or band. After all of these years, his work has evolved and it still reflects the culture of San Antonio. The colors of these two works are very similar in color, but very different in their style. Ben is a big, muscular guy, says painter Luis Vega Trevino, with whom Mata has shared studio space with for the last 12 years. But his work can be so delicate. It has just this incredible translucence. It was while working as a resident at the Guadalupe Annex nearly 15 years ago that he began to consider aluminum as an art material. It was all by accident, Mata said. There was another artist there, San Antonio abstract painter Norma Jean Moore, and she had these aluminum sheets. I started playing around with them. I thought I'd mount them on some wood, and it would lend itself to being on a canvas. Several series of paintings over the years have been formed and built on each other, including auras, ellipses, and light boxes. Mata's made aluminum sculpture and three-dimensional wall works, wrapping the aluminum sheets around wood forms to create pieces that look like a cross-section of an airplane wing. He's gouged Zen-like designs onto shiny surfaces and tortured them with various caustic corrosive liquids, which we won't be using today. There's been a lot of experimenting, he says. In 2000, Mata co-founded Circle Infinity Studios in San Antonio. Since then, he has worked on aluminum panels using artist oils and power tools to manipulate the surface. The luminous metallic surface allows him to create a variety of textures and depths. Mata claims that this allows for a process of discovery. He is led by intuitive responses to the surface, which guide him in the execution of the work. Mata has exhibited at Blue Star Contemporary Art Center, Guadalupe Cultural Art Center, Gallery Ortiz, and Anarte Gallery, all in San Antonio. He's also exhibited at Art House Gallery in Houston, the Martinez Gallery in Troy, New York. His work has appeared in Domino Magazine in 2007, Brilliant Magazine in 2005, and San Antonio Magazine in 2007. In addition, he has been involved in several community-based projects. In 2000, he created a mural with South San High School students, and through the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Juntos en Arte program, assisted inmates from Comal Detention Center in the creation of a portable mural in 2000. Individual projects include a 40-foot mural of Cluzo's Martini Bar in San Antonio 2008, and a mural for the Mary Mother of Priest Chapel in Rome, Italy, commissioned by Roan and Associate Design in 2010. Mata's work is in the University of Texas at San Antonio in their art collection and many other private collections. Ben Mata does not have a lot of art online. He does not have a very large social media presence, just a little bit. He is featured by some local galleries if you would like to look for more of his work. Anarte Gallery has him. He is quite an amazing artist and a San Antonio inspiration. So take a look at this piece by Ben Mata. This is what we are going to use as our inspiration piece. And I want you to start thinking about what you might have at home to recreate this piece yourself and gather it all together so we can get started. You also will want to be able to look at it, so keep it up on the computer screen or print out a picture. I am going to use we've had a lot of shipments show up here, so I'm just going to use a piece of a cardboard box as my base. Then I'm going to use some aluminum foil from the kitchen. I've tried to think of supplies that we would all have at home. I have some tape that I'm going to use to tape the foil onto my cardboard. I'm also going to use a fork for some texture. And then we're going to try out some other things and see how they work. I have some different Sharpies and metallic colors and just a plain purple. I found some paint. Not sure if it'll dry on aluminum foil, but we'll give it a shot. And then I also thought with the auto body work that maybe nail polish might work to stay on the aluminum, and that might be kind of fun. So we'll try out all different ways of doing this and see what we come up with. Remember, the cool part about doing art this way is that you can hit pause if you need to take a break or let something dry. You can go get a snack and come back and pick up where you left off. Once you have completed your beautiful masterpiece, I want you to have your parents share it online, and they can use the hashtag either on Instagram or on Facebook. Use the hashtag Satellite Mavs or hashtag Rooted Oak Meadow. And then we can see your art. And just like we do in the classroom, when I say I always want you to encourage yourself and encourage your friends, pat yourself on the back, good job. And then go ahead and encourage your friends and tell them that they did a good job. And hopefully this will help us to create community and stay in touch with each other. So let's go make some art. So I hope you have gathered all of your supplies together. I am ready to work on our Ben Mata inspired art piece. So the first thing I want you to do is grab some foil or whatever you're going to wrap. If you have a piece of cardboard box, whatever your base is going to be. So let me pull off some foil here. And we're going to wrap. I like the shinier side to show, so I'm going to wrap the back. I'm going to wrap this around the back, and I'll use some tape to hold it down. So I will use some tape to hold the foil in place. That concerned about what the back looks like, other than I want this to be nice and firm on here. Pull off another piece. Grab another piece for these top ends to come around. I'm very excited about this piece of art and what it's going to look like. I cannot wait to see what you guys have done. It's kind of like wrapping a present. Guys, this could be a great Mother's Day present. Might not be a surprise Mother's Day present, but it could still be a great Mother's Day present for you to give. Tuck this edge under just a little bit so it's not showing around the corner. There we go, and then I'll turn it around and do this other side. I'm going to tuck it in a little bit because I had a hard time on that first side. So just fold your foil. And tape it down. Okay, so that can be the back of our art, and then we'll turn it over to the front. I don't care that there is this fold in here. I think it's going to be kind of exciting to see what we're going to do here. I also have our inspiration piece by Ben Mata that I will just put up here at the top so I can look at it and get some ideas from it. So he's got a lot of light colors up here, and you can really see the texture in here with the metallic colors. In the center, it's very flowy, ocean-like. Down at the bottom, we have some more texture, and it looks very much like an ocean wave. And actually, this kind of looks like a person up here. So I want to start with just seeing what it looks like to get some base colors in. And I'm going to use some marker, whatever markers you might have. I'm going to try some metallic Sharpies and get that colored on here in some very fun shapes, and just really work out this surface here. Coloring in with this Sharpie. I'm going to take another one, and in this area here where it looks more solid color, copperish, I'm going to get that blended in just so we have some different textures and different layers going on in our piece of art. Looks like when he takes that welder and just smashes into the metal surface. And then down here we have some more patterns going on. I'm going to use both of those. If you don't have a metallic Sharpie, that's okay. You can use anything that you have and any colors that you want to. Okay, next thing, I'm just going to put some base layer of some purple coming in over here. Try out so that we have some different layers peeking through. So even when I add color on the top, I'll still be able to see these colors through, if any of them show up. Through the paint. And I'm going to let that get lighter up there. Bring in this purple in here and some purple down here. This purple is much brighter on aluminum than I would have thought it would have been. Next thing I'm going to do is grab an old paintbrush and some metallic paint that I have. Any kind of paint that you have. We don't have to have everything exactly the same. We're just going to try to do work with what we have. So I'm just going to start pouring this on here. Just let it move around. I'll use an old paintbrush that I have to smooth it in. On top of this surface, and see how I can still let that marker that I used before peek through. Pick up some of this paint and move it around. And try to get down to the bottom edges. But you can still see that marker showing through. That's really fun. So I'll make some little wispy lines in here in the silver spaces and try to hide those a little bit. I'm going to come move this around. I like the thickness of the paint. If you don't have paint and you need to go get some nail polish, hopefully you have something thick and fun that will have a nice glossy finish to add. Might have poured a little bit too much paint. So I grabbed a little bit too much paint, so I'm going to take some off of here and put it onto my palette, which is an old glue holder that I'm going to put some paint back in here in case I want to use it again. I don't want to waste it, throw it away. And I have a little bit too much on here. Okay. There we go. So that's much smoother. So I'm going to move this paint around, get some of it into this area so that marker shows through a little bit. And I can swipe across these areas where the gold was underneath. So that gold still peeks through. That's kind of fun. Very abstract art piece. All right. And then the next thing I'm going to do is pull this metallic blue color that I have. I'm going to put some of it up here at the top. No, it's not metallic. It's more of a flat color. So that's going to be fun to mix together. And I'll mix a little bit in as I go down. So we are going to end up with a very fun Ben Mata inspired piece. I'm going to try to cover it up all the way to the edge at the top. And then I can start to add some swoosh lines that look like water. Just mix these colors together some. I think that will be good that I save some of that purple because then I can come drop it in on here. So just mix in whatever colors that you have and coordinate that into your art with whatever you have on hand. I cannot wait to see what your work turns out like. I'm going to pick up some more of this purple and drop that back in on top of that blue. Kind of mix them together, give that texture. I wish that it was something like we do in class and I could hear you guys and what you are seeing in this art. So we'll do some little swooshes up here of this purple to mix them in. It's really fun to do new creative styles when I am typically much more traditional watercolorist. So adding all of this fun paint layer in is going to be great, and then let it dry. So do a couple of colors, layer them on top of one another. I like the way that gold is still peeking through in here. Add your different layers of your Ben Mata inspired piece. Hit pause at any time that you need to. All right, this is looking really fun. It's going to have a great textured layer to it. I really would like to have it lighter up here, so I'm going to add some more purple up here on the top. What a beautiful, fun, mixed media we have going on here. Okay, so I'm going to need to let this dry some, and I can come in with some of my nail polish that I have here. So I'm going to leave these wet areas alone and let them dry a little bit thicker. And then I'm going to come in and drop in some of this gold polish that I have just in these gold areas where he had initially done his scratchy surface. So I'm going to just pour some of this nail polish out and around. It's gold glitter. So if you have gold glitter glue or anything, I don't have that. So I'm going to just pour some of that on here. Let it just do its thing. And then I'll use a fork to do some fun texture work with it. You're going to end up with such a fun piece just using whatever you can find around the house. Oh, I'm shaking everything. Okay, so I've got that in here. This nail polish is probably 10 or more years old from when my daughter was still living at home. And then I'm going to take a fork and I'm going to just very lightly make some texture and patterns, move that around like scratch marks like he did with the welder. Use my fork for that pattern. I can use all 4 teeth, or I can just turn it on its side and use one, but just really mix this all together and let those previous layers that we did underneath show through. There's some cool stuff that comes down under here. And we've got this down here that we can work on and do some cool patterns. And I think I'm pretty done. I really like it. I like what's happened. So I hope you guys like your art, and I can't wait to see it. If you will post it on Instagram or Facebook on the Oak Meadow Elementary PTA page or the Oak Meadow Elementary NEISD page. And you can use the hashtag Saddle Up Mavs or hashtag Rooted Oak Meadow. And I cannot wait to see your art and for us to encourage each other and say good job just like we do in the classroom. I'm so proud of you, and I can't wait to see what you've done.